There's been a huge shakeup in China. Xi Jinping has been purging a lot of the military commanders.
Yes.
And, like the rocket chief and all that, they've just been disappeared, demoted, completely taken out of the system. And for the longest time, people couldn't really understand why, but a report has just come out.
Well, actually, before we get to that, I want to read this article. It's actually linked in the description. All of our articles are linked in the description where we got all our information from.
Cool.
And before we get into what they found, there's been a bit of a debate about that, so we're going to talk about that. But what's not up for debate, and this is a quote, is that there's been a major upheaval within the PLARF, the PLARF.
PLARF.
Which we love these sounds. We had the plan.
Yeah, the plan, the PLAF.
The PLAF and the PLARF.
And now we got the PLARF, yeah.
Which is the Rocket Force, obviously.
Yes, Rocket Force.
And other entities linked to it, as well as China's defense establishment at large in the last year or so. In June 2023, Li Yuchao, the then head of the PLARF, as well as the force's top commissioner and two of Li's deputies, were all dismissed reportedly over corruption. In July, so it's just like right in succession, right?
Yep.
Wu Guohua, a former senior PLARF officer and head of the PLA's third department intelligence directorate, died under mysterious circumstances.
Yeah, because that just happens.
And then, in September 2023, China's defense minister Li Shangfu disappeared from public view officially due to unspecified illness. The following month, Chinese authorities formally announced that Li, who was reportedly under investigation for corruption, had been sacked. He'd only been at the post for 7 months after taking over for Wei Fenghe in March last year. Wei, another former PLARF commander, does not appear to have been publicly heard from since then as well. Do you understand what a big shakeup? It's unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this in the Chinese military situation.
Yes.
The amount of purges that have been going on due to corruption have been insane. They might actually be for corruption.
Yeah.
They might be because they said the wrong things or they got cozy to the wrong people. There might be internal strife that we just don't know.
Absolutely.
What we do know is that there was a report from Bloomberg.
Yeah, apparently the U.S. intelligence knew a thing or two.
Apparently. Now, this is where it comes into contention.
Yes.
But what seems to have happened, you've seen this, you can just play this.
It's a rocket. Look, guys, it goes up in the sky. Wow.
Yeah. I just some,
you know what?
Chinese state media.
China's really good at bottle rockets, though, these days. You know those ones you fill with water and pump up, and then they shoot up?
Oh, yeah. It's kind of similar to what we're talking about. Because apparently, they found some vast fields of missile silos in Xinjiang, I believe.
Yeah, Western China.
You know, where the genocide is happening.
Yeah.
And apparently, the rockets were discovered to be filled with water instead of rocket fuel.
The silos lids were found to not be able to open properly.
Yes.
So in the event that a rocket needed to be fired, the lids would not fully open.
I think that's not up for speculation. The water part is, but the lid part
the lid's real. So if you try to launch it, it wouldn't be able to launch. There'd be problems, which is a huge issue. That means that all of those massive amounts of missile silos out there were ineffective.
Yeah.
You know? So if you had to fire your ICBMs or whatever out of there, good luck. They wouldn't be able to fire. So imagine you've got this, we've got missiles incoming from, the US or from Russia or wherever. We need to retaliate. Or more likely scenario, hey, let's fire on another country. And Taiwan. You try. Yes, let's fire on a Taiwan. Then it wouldn't work.
Yes.
So.
You know what? It reminds me of something to do with water, some sort of state official.
You mean this? Water cooler diplomacy.
A lot of water going on.
So the rumors were, or the so-called intelligence, is that you've got all these silos that the lids don't open, and you also have rockets filled with water.
Yeah, so here's the contention. The contention is that some military experts say, why would you even put water in rockets? Because when they're stored empty.
Yeah.
You're not going to corrode them on purpose, right?
No, you're not going to have them filled with rocket fuel.
If there was some problem with fuel, or let's say there's graft involved, there wouldn't need to be water in the equation, is what some people are saying, right? Some people are also saying that a byproduct of these rockets is water, right? Maybe in the combustion element or something. Sure. All of that is in the report that has both kind of perspectives, but the lid thing is not really up for contention. It looks like there's been some problems with that. And then also the other side of the thing that kind of supports the water in the rocket argument is this, and I'll read this.
Okay.
The U.S. assessment cited several examples of the impact of graft, including missiles filled with water instead of fuel, in vast fields of missile silos in Western China with lids that didn't function in a way that would allow the missiles to launch effectively. On a broader level, the watering down or even fully replacing fuel with water is a common form of military corruption around the world. So this is from Dr. Jeffrey Lewis.
Yeah.
This is not a unheard of thing. Like, I think a lot of people that are contesting this, or at least taking that side of things, is saying, like, why would you do that? It doesn't make logical sense. But this happens. This is not like an isolated incident.
Yeah.
The sheer money involved with rocket fuel on the black market is enough to, tempt anyone that is susceptible to corruption, right?
Absolutely, because you're getting it for free. If you're a commander or whatever, you're getting it, your allotment sent to you. And then you can say, like, oh, we filled up these rockets or whatever, we need more fuel.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, what you're doing is actually just filling them with water, or filling the refueling tanks with water, or diluting it and selling the real stuff off on the black market and making a lot of money.
Yeah. Some people are saying that, they saw that Russian state media picked this story up, so that kind
They would know, because if you look in the history of Soviet Union, it's common.
Yes.
There was a certain type of bomber that used to fly that needed alcohol for its cooling system inside, for the pilots or whatever. It actually had an
picturing a
alcohol
little straw.
Oh no! What they would do is those pilots on there, they would literally just sweat it out or whatever, siphon all the alcohol out, and then sell it on the black market. There's a huge thing about it. You can read up on it. It's hilarious.
Yeah. So there's this is on Word something. Anyway, this is a report. The War Zone, I guess it's called. This is an example of the range of some of these missiles. And so you got to get some perspective. These missiles would be used in a scenario with Taiwan, most likely, right? So if you look at that map real quick.
Okay, I'll bring it back.
I don't know why you skipped it. That's okay. You can see where these missiles would actually go. This is all being developed for a specific purpose.
Well, of course, like the thing is, this whole military readiness and missiles and all that, that's kind of common for any big superpower. Sure. You need to have that deterrent, and you need to have that threatening, that big stick to walk around with. But of course, this is a huge shakeup. And look, some people are pointing fingers and laughing at China and saying, look, they're so corrupt that they filled their missiles up with water and stuff. What do we have to worry about? But on the other hand, it's no laughing matter, because that means that they're actually strengthening themselves now. They're actually doing a shakeup, because corruption in the Chinese government, it's endemic. It's everywhere. You cannot get away from corruption, and in the military either. Corruption is just part of how the system works. Yeah. It's how people are put into power. It's how things are run. If you want to get anything done, you have to bribe, or at least curry favor with the right people. Guanxi, all of that stuff. We've lived it. We know what it's like. So, corruption is there. And when they start rooting the corruption out is when you have to start worrying, because that means that they're actually taking things seriously, and they want to actually not just have a fake facade of a military, they want a real one. Yeah. And so if they get rid of the water out of the missiles and fix the lids on the silos, that means now they're ready to fire.
Yeah, I think before we had a dangerous China, right? Like a dangerous China led by the Chinese government, but it was rife with corruption.
And it was a paper tiger.
Now I think we're seeing a real tiger being developed.
Yes.
And rooting out corruption, not in necessarily within the government at large.
No.
I'm talking about like within the functional war machine.
That's correct. Yeah.
To be more functional, and I think that is a concern.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I think for people that are kind of having a chuckle at the Chinese government for being so corrupt and having water in their missiles, remember, this is a bad sign.
Yeah.
Because if they are, first of all, this is coming out, they're doing something about it, that means that they're very seriously getting ready for something.
I think also there's a lot of lessons to be learned that China's learning right now with Russia. When they faced just enormous equipment failures and exposed a lot of the corruption while in an active battle situation, all on like social media, they're able to see all this. And the fact that they have such a close partnership with Russia, they can probably learn a lot of this kind of stuff. And they're like, we need to deal with this stuff before we enter a war scenario.
Correct. Definitely. The whole invasion of Ukraine was definitely a big learning experience for China and Russia.
Yeah, for sure. But this is definitely going to be a developing thing for sure.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it and see where it goes. But
I just wanted to end by saying I encourage people to look into what they think actually happened too, and I think that article in the description is very thorough on both sides.
Yeah.
We do know, just from living in China, we know that China deals with corruption at an unreal level. And the fact that they're being so public about all of these purges and about all of this alleged corruption, it's a bit worrying, like you said, because they're actually showing some functionality in their future war preparations, as opposed to before when you sweep it all under the rug. I would say tastes like industrial runoff.
This snack is just a menace to society.
I'm not looking forward to this.
It's kind of like hell.
It's hell.
It's hell. Like
Not kind of like hell. This is what hell probably is.
You don't want to be eating something that came out of an industrial park in China.
Yeah. Oh, it smells like meat.
It it does smell like meat. It smells like dog food.
Oh, does it? Oh, it really does. These are so preserved.
Yeah.
You could put this in a mummy's tomb. Tastes a little bit like cigarette ash.
It's just rubber. Look at that. It's bendy. Look at it. It's rubber, dude.
Woo! That was a spectacular feast.
When I close my eyes, I can almost see it. When I take a breath, you fill up my lungs. And if my mind were